Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre Loya Natarena Shere Malang Guru Mamandra Siddhe Bala Hong. Om Ai Namo Guru Beda Dre
Political system is rather cancerous, regardless of which side of the aisle you might be on. And so cancer takes many forms. And also then, and that's a special empowerment next Friday, Saturday and Sunday, the teachings will be on the 7 Taras, which is long life and good health. So next week we're going to be dealing with being healthy, living long, and being prosperous in whatever form that takes. Also, at 9 o'clock, Lama Abo is going to be talking about the 4 causes to be reborn in Dewa Chen, and I don't know about you, but I hope there's some real estate there that has my name on it, and yours too. And finally, not the least, Rinpoche's been talking about one of the paramitas is generosity, and I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of acts of generosity here by the members attending, but one of the ones of the generosity I want to specifically name is the individuals that have provided lunch for us the past 2 days. Yeah, it's good not only to hear generosity, but it's also really special to see generosity in action and be a benefit of it.
You can ask if anybody lose the Garchen Chapter in 2004. I found this in the book. But
Oh.
I want to return it.
Okay. Apparently, somebody lost Kalatraka in their prayer book. So, in 2014. Oh goodness. They all say that. So, but you lost it in 2019. So it took you 5 years to lose it, and so if anybody has lost it, it'll be back at the back table. Thank you.
근데 비바사는 당사에 도미 있지 도발 쇼송 도미 들어 이 바다 곰 가지고서 남도 이런 것도 없지 사실에 남도 이런 뭔 말이 상고요 내 말에 비바사는 당시 왔다서 시바사고 유복감니 니 남도 샤디나지 시바스라 속탑되네 남도 네바면 남도 샤케요 이렇게 싸워 누구 말이 이렇게 공부가 나도 잘 돌아오게 쳐달라면 이 미도를 그는 나도 저바시는 나도 되게 내고요 그냥 다다 도미디 가지에 되나 ben 모델람 갈라 네 다모다만 봐서 도고요 모델 같이 돌아 기도 자리 맞지 네 모델 잡하게 해서 내가 가는 거 말이야 다 또지 또디나 다들 니 모라지 넘버 하고 고상나 다 모라지 찍찍찍 레고 코도리 얘도 센트 여기 짓을 장거리 여기 짓을 맞아오 싶어하지 내 공장에 다녔을 때는 이 가만은 미참아 통고요래 무슨 뭐 통고도 직접 마삼은 싸움 통고를 싸워 몇 맞다 내와나지 직접 마삼 내와나지 차대래 야 강부등을 되나? 강부등을 되나? 나 강부등아. 내요 미치다 마상 강부등을 돼요. 맞죠? 맞죠? 강부와 용미 강요팀이 센터 선남가를 탑려가지 오미시 바디. 저 자트되는 내 밤에가 공공선 때라고 저 오미시 시제. 내 밤에가 이 시제 시바들라. 저 밤에 시바들 오미시 선고요래.
So we have said the wisdom free from thought. And this term, free from thought, what does that actually mean? Normally, people think that when they meditate and a thought is arising, they think that they're not meditating any longer because there's a thought. But that's actually not true. If you sustain clear mind, you shine the light of mindfulness, when a thought arises and your mind remains clear, then the thought actually does not affect you in one or the other way. That is, if clear awareness is upheld with stability, then no matter what thought arises, it harms you in really no way. And this is what we need to habituate to when we meditate. It is the arising and liberation of thoughts, just like waves dissolving into the ocean. So if the mind remains clear, the thought will go away on its own. If you begin to cling to the thought, then the thought will remain within the mind. So free from thought here, an example of that is, for example, when you're looking at a busy road, there are many cars driving by. If you do not really engage in those cars, if you don't really focus on these cars, it doesn't matter how many cars drive by, even hundreds and thousands of cars, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you. So that is freedom from thought. If there is thought, then, for example, it is like you want to see the license plate of every single car that drives by. So you try to follow one after the other, and finally you will get just exhausted and dizzy. So this is what happens when the mind follows the thought or an object. So do not follow a thought and sustain clear mindfulness. For example, you're sitting here in this room, there are many people, you can clearly see them, and still you don't think about anything, you don't think about them in any way. You meditate, you close your eyes, and then at some time it might even seem as though there are no people. There is just no thought. When there is no thought in the mind, you don't even have a feeling of being inside a building or there are people. So there is no thought of there are people or there are no people. There's just no thought. So the people in the house kind of disappear, and the mind becomes all-pervasive like space. So that's free from thought. And free from thought means that nothing affects you in any way. No sound, no smell, no touch, nothing. Nothing affects you in any way. Nothing harms you in any way or irritates you. And so that is the state of wisdom that is free of grasping, or the wisdom free from thought. So this clear awareness is that wisdom free from thought. So what this means is that free from thought doesn't mean that there is no thought actually. It means that even though there are thoughts, even though thoughts arise, they arise within a state of clarity. And then as you do not follow those thoughts, the thoughts are dissolving on their own and they don't affect you in any way.
내 가슴 습진 탐지 꾸지 상진 가서 냠송 안다 하자 가르쳐 버리 까탑지 상지 가는 통고요래 상지 좀 되게 그 강성 버리 되는데 습진 남는 상진이 오자 로버트메 해서 습진 탐지 샘에서 상지래 잡을 로드 로치 버리 계속 말하기 되니 습진 탐지 샘에서 오자 로버트만 가리 ngayon sa bandi, leon iti, ngayon sa bandi, ito nga di may wahako. Sem nelok to lang, ngayon sa bandi may wahako. Dagi ni may wahako na sini, ngayon sa bandi, toni to si badi, da may wahako sa tani, jinya yo mari. Ini mereka tong dile no pa may wa, na chutu dina no pa may wa. Dila, muko tong sima ma jo le tini no pa may wa. Kuja sanji nga ta nyang tong. 다 갖다 이제 송송아 사지 좀이 되게 얘는 이 습진 탐지 사지 송송아 아까도 좀 그 습진 탐지 나도 기발이 송송아 다 송도지 찍도 니온 거요 얘는 사지 좀이 되게 너 등등이 잡고는 송송을 농능하고 통성 이때 간다 공tra 망보로 공거 너디 망보 송거래시 책 가가래시 얘는 동직바래시 동직 하고송 동타마 하고송시 이 동가리 또 동다고 돼봐 니스메 그 시들 망보 하고 말이 가다 편지 다니 님도 셈 님도 상을 하고송잖아 니 남도 센터 남도 니하야들이 남도 깨는 색도고요 이게 처럼 자도고요 말이 따와니 나니 니지 나미 봐하고 남이 너무 싫었지 남이 봐도 도저히 자기 오메 내렸으니까 그냥 사진 가다 냐도 얘가 냐나야 주민 출발이잖아 송송 따다다들이 다 온저 로버트 맥답들이 나세 그래서 그랬더니 나진이 차요래 대리에서 로버트만
Then it says, all you beings of the three realms are actually identical to Buddhas, the ground of all. But your misunderstanding of the ground causes you to go astray, so you act without aim. So this is actually very important, this line. So all beings are identical to Buddhas. And as you mentioned before, all the teachings have to accord with the Buddha's words. And what did the Buddha actually say? The Buddha said, all sentient beings, all beings are actually Buddhas. They are only obscured by adventitious stains. So the mind of all sentient beings is the Buddha. It is just like the light energy in this world. It's all the same. So what is this temporary or adventitious stain? It is that thought of me and I, an existing I. Actually, there is no self. Someone who has realized the nature of mind knows that there is no self and there is no other. There is no grasping at a self. When you realize emptiness, you know that there is no self, and therefore you know that there is also no other. And you still see all appearances, but they do not affect you in any way. Sounds and so forth, nothing affects you. If you do not cling to the true inherent existence of appearances, if you do not label them, then whatever appears will not affect you negatively in any way. Yesterday we mentioned the single ground. And we also said that the Buddha said all beings are actually Buddhas. And we said that we are all really the same. So all of these instructions come down to a single essence. There is one quote I found in a sutra called the Samadhi Raja Sutra. And in there the Buddha had said, in 1,000 worlds I taught the sutras and scriptures extensively. And while the words are many, their meaning is the same. And if you understand that meaning, you have understood all my words. So what is that meaning? It is the ultimate truth. It is non-dual primordial wisdom. There is not so much to be understood. If you understand that self and other are inseparable, that is all to be understood. And then you know that even though thoughts arise in the mind, you will not cling to them, and therefore they will dissolve on their own. They will not cause the mind to freeze into an ice block if there is no dualistic grasping. And that leads to the wisdom that realizes selflessness. And when you realize that, it doesn't mean that you don't see anything anymore or anyone. you see everything that appears, but there is no grasping at the true existence or the dualistic existence of that appearance. It says your misunderstanding of the ground causes you to go astray. So this misunderstanding, that is that adventitious stain that the Buddha had mentioned. And that is just this notion of I, an existing individual I. And because we have bodies, we perceive a duality of self and other. But that is not our true state. It is a misunderstanding of the ground.
Ela, nada, 지금이 철지, 철바지 가리 철도, 당고 이제는 철, 이제 semte ibatela ni, sem kakari da ni 철, 라면 철, 아들 사와 탑지들이 차장이 눈치에 받으니 락바 차장이 차와를 동이 내가 사와지 중통서 좀지 얘도 중통이 열에 변나 매가요 말에 이 마소를 연대더니 sem을 째서 이 내물도 sem을 탐적으로 배 서로 가보면 탐적으로 살짝봐도 탐적으로 배스다 그 시랍과 탐질이 하고 너무 초와지지마다 시랍과 손은 다 탐토고요 말 여기들이 시바랑 속터 됐다 시바요 토지 쇼르다 가서 얘기도 도착가 세상가 제 연락 소화 쇼르나 이제 그래서 철고 손들이 이 뉴모바디 처음에 받잖아 그러고 와서 하고는들이 맞춰버려 이 지를 손에 이니 레사우나 레스 박차다 다 박차도 버리지 되다 가보면 이제 싸움을 이제 출력돼 하고 예를 들어 이제 딴 양이지 갈고 또 진바 마인 거 찍어버려야지 이 독신이 송사사자 됐은 거래 실력랑 속 마셔나시 실력랑 속 마셔라 시바사오티 남보다 뉴모 왕도 마셔와 실라 따다디 레롱송 이 시글 롱이 이 하나가 롱 많이 봐 레롱 시바디 뉴모 왕도 쇼다 레롱도 왕도 쇼도 저래 아 뉴모 봐 대랑 속다 도와도 제로 이 송송 제요래 이 시글 롱들 라왕 거래 오 뉴모 봐 제세 담지 매라 생도 봐게 되더니 이 시글 롱들 라왕 거래 실강 속 마셔와 유몽롱도 이시 레롱도 이시글 롱이 가갈 하고 그리 저도 다때 와라 롱 랑징했더니 롱롱데다 롱데 주도 내서 지나져서 뭐에 이렇게 봐서 오르서 보통 되는 세워서 자꾸 요래 롱때 와라 지금 뭐에 되게 되네 들이서 이 kirplan 속 마셔 와서 되는 거에
Then the 6 karmic actions are a delusion like a dream. So delusion, what is delusion? First there is delusion on the ground, on the basis. And that delusion is to a confusion where although there is just one mind, it perceives a separation, it perceives a duality. So first we are confused by the perception of a self-other duality. And that's the confusion on the path, on the basis. The confusion on the path is that from there on, because we see everything in this dualistic way, whatever we do is driven by negative emotions, attachment and aversion, all the time really. The coarse form of attachment and aversion just manifests as desire and hatred, and the subtle forms appear as hope and fear and so on. And even if we just engage in the slightest activity, hope and fear are always somewhat there. There is actually never a time where they're not there. They're always actually there in our mind. it is like they have melted, they've blended into one with the mind. And there is no more feeling, no more recognition of them even being there. You're one with them. It is just like snowflakes melting into a lake or salt dissolving in water, completely becoming one. So you have completely blended into one with those feelings of afflictive emotions. And therefore you don't recognize. If you're mindful and you're become aware of those afflictions, those feelings, then they cannot dissolve, merge to be one with the mind. They cannot blend like that with the mind. If awareness is held with stability. So we mentioned how we practice when desire arises or when anger arises and so on. When a certain object arises and we are drawn to that object, a feeling arises. And that must be recognized. That feeling that arises must be recognized. And when you recognize it, then it will disappear. There will be no confusion. It will not take you and control you if you are mindful. And if you pursue the thought or the feeling, then you will accumulate karma, and then those habitual tendencies grow stronger and thicker, just like snowflakes accumulating. So we have to understand how we become confused, how that happens. And the one and only instruction here really is, do not be distracted. In the Dzochen, there is one quote that says, do not lose the stability of awareness. Sustain clear awareness. If your mind is very clear, then you will not become controlled by all kinds of thoughts and afflictive emotions. We speak about those karmic winds and wisdom winds, and here with winds, we are not referring to actual air that we are inhaling. It's more a subtle wind and energy. So when an affliction arises and you follow it, then you are controlled by the karmic winds. And then this afflictive emotion will manifest in the form of taking birth anywhere in the 6 realms of samsara, 3 lower realms, and so on. Then regarding the wisdom winds, if mindfulness is clear, if your mind is clear, even if an affliction arises, the mind is clear, so you will not follow that affliction. You have some freedom, control over the mind, so the mind cannot freeze. It's very important to clearly understand the difference between the 2 kinds of winds. And also, therefore, there is this ongoing instruction that we receive of focusing our attention at the navel. When your mind abides at the navel, gradually there will be a natural sensation of like a pulse or vibration there that is felt at the navel. When the mind stays there for a long time. When the mind stays at the navel, then the mind is clear. And actually, when you're straightening your back, your energy naturally goes to the navel, and your mind will be clear. So when the mind abides focused at the navel, the mind attains clarity and stability.
레가 뉴모 뭐 촉가 령아 대상 제가 사와지다 조금 요래 다한테는 되는 뉴모 뭐 촉들 남식이 요래 레 동물랑 쳐봐라지 레 독도 제는 어떤 노아를 죽라 제왕 코와티 대양 문제는 말랑다 그래지 야 사직이 되는 좀 냐와를 지나 주로 시당의 상호도 마다 봐도 시당도 고 저를 땅마서 저도 똑같은 말이 봐도 땅마서 그래 그때도 냐와게 다 당시 유모버디 존지 그 변에 민강하고 차대에 사직이잖아 그래도 유모가 요네 때문에 좋은 거에 대해 레도 말람서 봐도 우리 노아도 우리 말이지 나는 사지에 도망이 공사지에 도망에는 철만 명을 셈때 다다 사지에 그냥 뭐 시합 됐잖아 다다 시합 세부대로 도망디 철만 명을 때 진오를 콩 요리스 때문에 콩이스 다다 남그 그 사지에 그냥 뭐 시합 나는 사지에 도망이 좀 로로로 뺀데서 그것도 뭐 뭐라지 셈지 삼지 말이봐 휴지정선 창자셔서 그것도 뭐 섞어서 뭐 뭐람 따뜻한 좀 뭐라도 집아 뒤집어 대신식고 써놨대요 남것도 좀 뭐라고 싫은 모습이 뒤도그 이 상황 것도 좀 따다다 참 대식 뭐 고랑들이 습지 탐절이 이제 유복에서 와서 있어요 대유복 또 something 새끼 삼절 라미게 탁툭 상무자 라마요 말이지 내가 레세 마세 버리 마서 탁툭 상 맞아 라마미 봐서 되네 로독도 뺀데서 내가 들이 점마서 생기나 들이 점마서 또 바꿔가지다 수지 점마서 갈라고 내가 로아도 처럼 따지 점마서 처럼네 말이지 예를 점마서 사지 속라들이 다다 나반나서 가서 조금 용지해요. 사주 좀 받고 용지 타로 나반나서 그랬더니 로도 뺀데서 거기서 뭐래서 이제 좀 취지 영서 창자죠. 취지 영가를 사치지 남카를 나 취지 세분 내lok도 남카다 왔다라 어때 남카다 응한테 되나 남카를 계속 거두매 봐. 때를 뛴다 잡아라 종이 대다 로고다 똑같아지라 이게 종이요. 대타원에 들이다가 탐지 주행 보랑데 석번 내lok대 주가라 상지에서나 이 로고다 쪼그라지 들다다 들지 냠들이 쪼그들 들다다 들지 냠들이오스 เป็น자와 탐지 기마 메르가 마소 메르가 자와 탐지 뭐 취시 다테다 탑람도나 데담라마 거비시 빼서면 거비시 탐지가 되다 람동서 소마한테 탑지야 습지를 왔어 너무 계획이 있어야지 파티를 맞지 봐야나 내가 사와카카를 되게 말과 람동 타고 이거 다 됐다고 송송을 그래서 통통 튀네 이렇게 벤터에서 주지에서 창조하자 선지 탐조를 차그럼 따버티 잡도다 찍과 차고 왔어 주지에서 창조하소서
So this, the 6 karmic actions are a delusion, like a dream. And before it said, you act without aim. So when we are confused, when the mind is deluded, confused, we act without aim. And that is because there's no awareness. Whatever we do is completely meaningless. There's not really any benefit, no real end to all of our activities. What we really do is just to accumulate more and more causes of suffering. We just create more and more suffering. And how do we do that? By following our ordinary, unrestrained afflictions of attachment and anger and so forth. So for example, you think that how you see things is how it really is. So you say that this is really an enemy, and this is really my friend. This is how it is. And actually, the truth is that nothing really actually exists inherently at all. The object that you are attached to or have an aversion against does not inherently exist. And also your own mind. The thoughts in your mind are constantly changing. They also don't inherently exist. But those feelings that we develop due to our beliefs, they obscure our mind. And we don't recognize that. And not recognizing that, whatever we do with body and speech basically becomes a non-virtuous action, a cause of more suffering. So then we follow our 6 afflictive emotions, and we constantly, mindlessly act out with body and speech. So all of our activities really become causes of suffering. Begins with self-grasping, and once there is self-grasping, the 6 afflictions are naturally present. So the 6 karmic actions are a delusion, like a dream. So just like a dream, actually the 6 realms of samsara do not actually exist. We go from lifetime to lifetime, and actually all of that does not inherently exist. However, for as long as we have the karma, we experience it with a confused perception, a confused mind. The Buddha, for example, also said that the hell realms, to the Buddha, even the hell realms, for example, does not inherently exist, but for as long as we have the karma to be born there, we will have to experience the suffering in the hell realm, the suffering of hatred and anger and so on. And until that becomes purified, we experience suffering. So it's just like purifying water, for example. Until it is clean, you have to clean it, basically. You have to keep purifying it until it becomes pure. So to the Buddhas, actually, therefore, the hell realm is something that's necessary to purify those negative karmas. So in that sense, it's like a hospital, actually. Because in any case, we have to purify our afflictive emotions. But then when they are purified, the 6 realms really do not actually exist. Then I am the Primordial Buddha, here to train the 6 kinds of beings through all my manifestations. So this Primordial Buddha, as we mentioned before, is the Buddha, the mind that has never been confused. It is wisdom. The essence of the Buddha is the wisdom in your own mind. It is your own Buddha nature. Buddha nature has never been confused. And the essence of that mind, that is Samantabhadra. The essence of the Buddha is your own wisdom awareness. So, again, a prayer, through Gunto Sangpo's prayer, may all you beings without exception attain enlightenment in a state of Dharma Dhatu. So the outer Samantabhadra, again, makes a prayer. And that prayer made by the outer Samantabhadra really is the prayer of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. And that is, if you remember the 3 powers, the second power, which is the power of all the Buddhas' compassion. Then the inner Samantabhadra is your own clear awareness. And the secret Samantabhadra is Buddha nature, the basis of all sentient beings. We call it the innate root of virtue. So by virtue of those 3 powers, all sentient beings ultimately attain enlightenment. They can't help but attain enlightenment because of this innate root of virtue, that is their Buddha nature. And until then, temporarily, they experience suffering until that karma comes to an end. But that's just a temporary state. That is not their true nature. That karma has to come to an end, but then from the perspective of attaining enlightenment, sentient beings are only illusory appearances. And also nirmanakayas are illusory. And so why illusory? Because sentient beings are like ice blocks. And there is no real ice. Ice is really water. So there are no real sentient beings. And regarding the illusory Nirmanakaya, when we speak about the qualities of the three kayas and the Nirmanakaya, we have said the Nirmanakaya appears in many different ways to benefit sentient beings in an illusory way. Then it says here, may they attain enlightenment in a state of Dharma Dhatu. This state of Dharma Dhatu actually also has an outer, inner, and secret aspect. So the outer aspect, the outer state of Dharma Dhatu here, that is space. And the inner Dharma Dhatu is when you have realized the nature of your mind, and your mind abides like space, you realize that space transcends birth and death, and it never changes. And the clouds and rain naturally arise within space. So from the Dharmakaya, the Sambhogakayas and Nirmanakayas, they naturally manifest. So then ultimately, when one attains enlightenment, so secretly, when you attain enlightenment in the Dharmakaya, when you realize the nature of mind, then from that, the manifestations to benefit beings arise naturally. The Nirmanakayas appear in the same form as those to be tamed. So those who tame and those who are tamed actually exist together. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is a human being, and we also are human beings. But he teaches us the Dharma. He shows us the path to liberation. So that's just an example. All other spiritual teachers also show that path to liberation. So we are all the same in being human beings, but our activities are different. The pure Nirmanakayas are able to show us the way out of ignorance, the path to liberation. So this state of Dharma Dhatu here, it really refers to the qualities of the three kayas. So what this prayer really is saying is that may all sentient beings who are like ice blocks, may their ice blocks melt and become one with the ocean of the Buddha mind.
Tata le tok malan trapanda so le tok di choe nyu mo ba tok tawa nyu mo tok de ta dachim bo dor do dachim bo te sa bo re uno ta de le de ti bo ti to ko mo ri ni bo sana maris a do po san ji jin pin san lo jin pin ge lo di tu ke chek ba ji ji la ka de le nyu mo ba tok di yo ma ta da ri kong shi ba ge da samte granji ne phasi so granji chayong go yore dela thamar pa sewa dela angre shirap ji no teri chebe pa ti pena samba ta de ni je de samba chebe pa de la hamma ma de ba chi ta ma na kha de sebji thamji lo samte yo la pa ti samba chebo ni je yo yore dela tiri lunga iso sawa che tamche rangi ke magi wa tamche diwale jortele te done chupong je de je dong zawa sa chuk semen de jena dwar do ke ta ko sam ni je chipu ke ta ko yore tin sa ba che mi ji yu la una ni je che mi rangi ke yo yore te mo do sa chuk sem to mo che te je ke yore ni nang la ma ta chu ji ni bo sam ni je jap se cho de jap dom na yore o去他这个宁波早开的上班的经济上班的这样上班的上班的这个你给他上班节约的看你那这个的上班满这个你给的都差的你给给班都差送这下过来哦上班的这个你给这上班的他你是不错了过了不都啥做生的我们那多了呀那多了上这个就我了내 양당한테 아마 여기 약합 늘 사지 주 매개들이 내 양당한테 사바체미 줄지라 이 목도 욕도 요래 내를 지네들이 다다 건서 뭐 공개 주지에서 자기가 줘들 그래서 상촉생 고 따면은 이렇게 나한테 자공다고 쉬었었네 일단 세배 자공 잡도 따고 저거 차송 야 규정에서 당기하고 난 세고 당진이 미송잖아. 생 그런 걸 아니 이제 말이 다음에는 이해하면 나긴 이메 잘 그래. 이 하고는 이 관련들이 데려다 기회 몽이 실죠. 남시 실 보소. 이제 규정 상자쇼 남시 실 보고 그래.
So the 6 kinds of beings. So here to train the 6 kinds of beings. So there are, or 6 karmic actions lead to 6 kinds of beings. So the 6 afflictive emotions are the seeds for a vast unfolding of samsara and different realms. And then if you would try to bring it all to mind and think of each suffering and each affliction that could arise, it would be just too much to even fathom. And you wouldn't find an antidote for all of it. But that's not necessary. In the 37 practices, it is said, the perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. And that's all you need. If you only cultivate just a moment of altruism, in that moment, there are no 6 afflictive emotions. So as we mentioned before, when there is love, within that mind of love, the 6 paramitas are naturally complete. And this kind of love is unlike ordinary love. So here we are speaking about boundless, immeasurable love. When there is immeasurable love, from that immeasurable compassion arises. So immeasurable love arises when you reflect on the fact that all sentient beings without exception have been my parents. You cultivate love until it reaches all sentient beings, boundless love. And when you only have that, then no matter what you do with body, speech, or mind, everything becomes virtues. Even non-virtue transforms into virtue. Therefore, it is said the 84,000 different Dharma teachings all come down to bodhicitta, have their root in bodhicitta. If you wish to become free from the 6 realms of samsara, the only way to become free is to cultivate love and compassion. If you cultivate immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion will arise naturally. And that is what we call the precious relative bodhicitta. When we take the refuge vow, we take refuge in the Dharma. The essence of the Dharma is love and compassion. So that is the essence of all Dharma practice. It really is just love. When there is love, compassion arises naturally. It has to come from love. Any good quality arises from love. If there is no love, there is no loving kindness, then even though you might feel compassion for some, that kind of compassion that is not based on loving kindness for all beings, that kind of compassion then actually becomes attachment. So recognize that, the relation between love and compassion. There has to be love first, and then from that compassion arises. And when it arises, an actual feeling of it must arise. You must feel that feeling of love, that relative bodhicitta. So the way to feel it is by contemplating it again and again, contemplating the nature of love and so forth, remembering the kindness of your parents, of your teachers, of your country, the Buddha and the Dharma and so on. Again and again, you develop a sense of gratitude, and love arises from that. And when love arises, the 6 afflictions will naturally disappear. So Samantabhadra's prayer is, may all beings attain enlightenment in the state of Dharma Dhatu. On the relative level, the relative bodhicitta is like warmth. When the warmth of relative bodhicitta arises, that melts the ice block of self-grasping. The outer example is the ocean. When the ice melts, it merges to be one with the ocean. And that ocean-like state is the state of the Dharma Dhatu. When there's no more self-grasping in the mind, then the mind naturally then stays in a space-like non-dual state. When you realize there is no self, then naturally you realize there is no other. And realizing that whatever arises, whatever affliction arises, all becomes wisdom. So this attaining enlightenment in the state of Dharma Dhatu also refers to the transformation of the ordinary dualistic consciousness into primordial wisdom.
선체 남절 돕진지 돕진지 처미를 빠랑세 몽랑 돕진 답답해 선체 남절 돕진 강리 남절 돕진 시바데 온담 때문에 있으면 비시 남시 실은 필때 가다 그 고속 그때 봐 사바체베 봐 라지기 요래 돈이 이제 송도 저거 뒤 가다 또 책모 요래서 요래 광샘 인디메베 이 샘지 답지 샘도 가면 욕도 그 요래 이제 남들 또 이제 늘 이책 시잖아 이 책이 니니 성적 나다 니니 성적 대반이 성도냐고 고독 그때 봐도 또 나는 니니 성적 남들 때게 다 모란다 모란이 또 진이 동대 나다 왔다나 이제 샘지 답지 지었는 공상 야세 simple 장미 바디 아주 쭉 감대식 뭐 세트고요.
And then home, hereafter, whenever a very powerful yogin with his or her awareness radiant and free from delusion recites this very powerful prayer, then all who hear it will achieve enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. So who is such a powerful yogin? It is someone who has realized the ultimate truth, who has actualized non-dual wisdom, whose dualistic consciousness has transformed into primordial wisdom. So it is someone who has developed a natural state of love and compassion that is boundless. So in brief, it is someone who has unified emptiness with compassion. And such a yogin is very powerful. It is because such a yogin is not grasping at a duality that when they recite this prayer, because there is no duality in their mind, their prayer can enter the minds of all other sentient beings, because there is no duality. So this also really means these words here also actually refer to the union of the two truths, the relative and the ultimate truth. A powerful yogin represents that union. And when such a powerful yogin makes such an aspiration prayer, then all sentient beings will attain enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. So by hearing that prayer, then by that prayer entering their minds, their Buddha nature can become awakened.
니다 자에서만 다다 사요 중앙 니마 도저 로프스서 지도 출선도 가리 니다 자에서 bakami 다 습지 다 니마 다완데 잡을링 통고요 다시 샘제 주게 내용을 영랑다고 다시 자지 주자치 버려 다들이 다 사용다 영랑 제보 가서 습지 탑지가 습지 타마로 도망가니 저 서울대들이 영랑을 뛰네 깝 들리지 다도 사용이마 니마 돈줄지 아니 도가 까미 다들인 게 도들 양심께서 람지가 들리 습지 토를 페버 깝 대탐지를 돈 나도 라바가 오늘들이 가리 다시 뒤티아치 버티 로프지디 다들을 로살리 대사만 습지기들이 지들 내요 깝 들리지 생분대로 이제 토를 내서 깝 들리지 못하다 나오나 마도절로 라니 거기서 보지서.
And then during a solar or lunar eclipse, during an earthquake, or when the earth rumbles, at the solstices or the new year, you should visualize Kundu Sangpo. So the solar or lunar eclipse, and so these are times when, during a solar or lunar eclipse, it is said that these are times when our mind is single-pointed. For example, when there is a complete darkness, when there is a solar eclipse, then that generates some feelings of fear within us and awe. So it is a very precious time, a very special time. We consider it a special, a precious time. And our mind is single-pointedly focused on that time. We think that now there is a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse, or when there is an earthquake, there is fear. And when fear arises, then the ordinary thoughts in the minds of all beings stop. And when they stop, then sentient beings come to the actual natural state of their mind in that moment. So it is during those certain occasions that we come to the natural state, because we are like together collectively focused on this one occasion. For example, it's the new year. We all think it's the new year, today is new year. And at that time, when we are focused on that single-pointedly, then ordinary thoughts stop and we come to the actual natural state of the mind. And so it is said, at such a time, when sentient beings' mind is in the natural state, if one makes such an aspiration prayer, then beings will attain enlightenment. So at such a time, one should visualize oneself as Kuntu Sangpo, Samantabhadra.
라니 거기서 보지도 다가 거기서 보 인삼 그래 같이 태섬지 그래 제 말에 저 들식 누보 코랑 네 거기서 보는 거 직발에 직발에 나 윤상 못해 이발은 무슨 고르면 나중에 요래 등 인생의 사바체매 봐 여튼 돈하고 대만 통 실업권도 상보지 그것도 보지 제발 싸우는 이지매 bak감이 그것도 보고 직접 차대요 다 됐다는 것이네요 심지어 피고 어떤 사바체매 bak감이 그것도 못이나 이것도 보고 무슨 차대 제발이야 말이 변나 아니 로버트만 가면 다음에 봐 라면 그것도 못이나 다시 지는 날이야 ngajartin basori lati ko ngahati usake la marisama musare ami sem tampo de lai sem jinchu paret ya ni patela sale jifi ge lo lore ta so sabase bi go lore dadi de to sabase mi lore sa so to tsawale sa so sa chok sem o tatero ngas sabase mi do se fi go to lo do 아이 거기서 보시면 거기서 문의를 해서 하는 시제도고요. 연발에 시바세. 예라이 제르는 아침 모여래. 같이 모여래. 이 다음 보람도 따르고 됐다고 요새. 근데 투자한테 주로 가성신 피해담제가 남들한테 뭐람지. 동일 рем지 존의 장성 양들 거예요.
So one should visualize oneself as Kundu Sangpo. And so now when we visualize ourselves as a deity, then you just maybe think that now I am Samantabhadra. And so some people have some doubts about that. Am I really Samantabhadra? So first of all, your Buddha nature is exactly same in essence as Samantabhadra's mind. There's not the slightest difference whatsoever. So to begin with, the continuum of mind is the same. And then secondly, we have created samsara due to self-grasping, today, if you give rise to altruism, a mind of immeasurable love, you realize the ultimate truth. And seeing the ultimate truth, this clear awareness that sees and Samantabhadra's mind are not different at all. They are exactly the same. And even if you are not able to practice quite like that, at the time of making this prayer, if you wish for the benefit of all sentient beings and remember Samantabhadra, then actually you really are Samantabhadra at that time. There really is no difference. Only temporarily there is this concept of a self. And so therefore this practice is also related to the generation stage, the visualization of the deity. And here the confidence of actually being the deity is most important. So we need to really determine, am I the deity or not? And understand how we really are the deity. So how are we really the deity? First of all, the mental continuum of the deity and your own are exactly the same. And then the deity is an embodiment of bodhicitta. When you recognize that, you see that this is the only difference. So I have to cultivate immeasurable love. And once you have cultivated that, you have already actually seized the life force of the deity, because the deity is nothing else but bodhicitta. So if you find that I have immeasurable love, I really want to benefit others, then you can be confident that I really am Samantabhadra. You can be confident, trust in yourself, recognize yourself for who you really are. So this part here, you can see, is related also to the deity yoga, the visualization of the deity, and is also a very important point of this practice. So when you make this prayer, you should think in this way, that this is really how it is.
동가 렘지 전에 장송기에 매송송 섭지 섭지 토리선나 제 토리선 제들이 섭지 섭지라 잡선로 로지 잡선로 로지 섭지라들이 사촉 섭지르지 그러면 이제 스님 마티 사지 톱로 요래 그때 사촉 내가 토리선 공방 유면 제바 사촉 사지 공방 톱로 요래
And if you pray loudly so all can hear, then beings of the three realms will be gradually liberated from suffering through the prayer of the yogin and will finally achieve enlightenment. So sentient beings will be gradually liberated. So first the sentient beings who are dwelling in the three lower realms are liberated into the three higher realms. And then secondly, those sentient beings who are born in the three higher realms, they are, they first are we cause them to develop a wish to take refuge. And then those who have taken refuge, we cause them to develop bodhicitta and so forth. So slowly, gradually, sentient beings are liberated. First, they take birth in the higher realms continuously, and finally, they attain the state of enlightenment. So there is this prayer elsewhere that corresponds to that. It says, I will free those unfree, I will release those not released, I will give breath to those without breath.
이 조바지 먹고도 정부 공부 산다도 때문에 유래 오늘 또 못했다면 심지어서 상무자가 어미 버티를 내요 그바 코드송아 어디 에케는 오데지 그들이 사다사다고 제가 부분에 제동 공부하고 공부사사지 유래 코드송아 사람만 갈라 진진다나 그것도 힘받대 야요래 네 뭐서 마사가졌다도 아지 제 샤와지트다니게 니바 인지는 오늘을 홍용홍 되는데 초고 째들게 니바 놀래서 잡아를 잡게 니바 하정 다치 보래 지인가 공부들인데 급지 값지 네 양요래 양이 보여래 내 로마타 그랬더니 양은 주바 앞으로 로마타 그랬더니 양은 주바 앞으로 인지 못했다 다 마찬가지다 왜 했더라 이 소리가 아무도 왜 레레 내가 그 양 주바 앞으로 인지 로마타 그랬더니 아고 소 고지하고 용을 말해.
And then, in the end, thus he spoke. This aspiration was taken from the 19th chapter, the powerful aspiration through which sentient beings cannot resist awakening, from the Dzochen Tantra, revealing Samantabhadra's mind of unimpeded openness. The Vidyadhara Rinpoche Gudam took out the Tantra, revealing Samantabhadra's mind of unimpeded openness from the central compartment of a maroon leather casket at Ladakh cave of Mount Sangsang. May it be virtuous. And then at the end, there is those two mantras here. These were actually added to this text. The first mantra, Om Bodhicitta Mahasukha Jnanadhatu A, that is the mantra of the peaceful deities, 42 peaceful deities. And Om Rolo Rolo Hung Byo Hung, that is the mantra of all the wrathful deities. So those two mantras are the mantras of the 100 peaceful and the wrathful deities. And so Rinpoche is going to offer you these mantras in melody form. Which says that was not great.
Ina, can you do long life prayer in English?
Only long life prayer? Shabden Chikpo?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's on page 13. For this realm, encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of every benefit and bliss without exception. Tenzin Gyatso, you who are one with Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfast until samsara's end. You are the embodiment of all the precious ones. You, a great being, are the holder and promoter of the teachings of the Shakya lion. Your perfect actions are for the liberation of sentient beings. May you, the Chetun Lama, whose enlightened activities are spontaneously present, live long. Precious holder of the triple gem of Drikung, who preserves the indisputable practice of the profound Dharma, who has realized the sublime truth which reveals peace and illumination. May you, who relieve the suffering of limitless beings, live long. The one known in the Holy Land as Arya Deva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chudingpa, the heart son of Chigden Gompo. May the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. In this age of strife, when the victor's teaching faces hardship, through his powerful Vajra-like conduct, he takes on himself the heavy responsibility of the unbiased teaching. May Garchen, the son of the teachings, live long. You who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized the self-aware absolute reality and shine with the 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma, may you, Khenchen Ratna Dwaza, live long. You possess the repository of the essence teachings of the past supreme siddhas. You, the precious Gonchok, are the refuge of all beings. You are the treasure trove of all the wish-fulfilling Norbos. Druvang Gonchok Norbo, I supplicate you, through our devotion, virtue, and excellence, and the vast power of the three roots and Dharma protectors, may the life of the Lama, the glorious protector, hold steadfast. May the Lama's enlightened activities unceasingly flourish throughout the 10 directions. Ye 1,000 arms are the 1,000 Chakravartin kings. Ye 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate era. I prostrate to the Venerable Chenrezig, who shows whatever is needed to subdue those to be subdued.
Also, somebody not coming next week, and then they can offering some kata. Do it right now.